Metaphor Fantazio is Atlus's newest game, and it's been, well, a little while now since it came out, early October, and I finally finished the game. It took me, I think in fact, I'll check for you right now how many hours I have in the game. I have 89 hours in the game. Obviously you got the true ending, really the only ending, as it were, because every other ending is bad. And I've got nothing but, well, not nothing but praise, but as far as like, really how the game is, I've got nothing but praise. I have some nitpicks and complaints about some of the some things, but I think that might just be a virtue of the fact I played on mouse and keyboard, and the overworld combat isn't tuned for that, and it was just a bit jank. Specifically, I mean, and the camera's a bit weird in overworld combat, but other than like weird stuff like that might just be purely by virtue of the way I played the game, there's basically no negatives I have. It was incredibly fun, aside from the things I just said. The story's brilliant, the characters are great, the music is banging. Not really an OST I would opt to listen to in my own time, because it's got a very distinct feel. Obviously, Metaphor's musical motif is very distinct, you know it, but it's not the music I'd listen to in my own time. I'll something like, your Persona soundtrack, your SMT stuff, that I would listen to in my own time, so like the Trails series. Metaphor, I probably would only listen to if I was playing the game. That's just the crux of it. It's good stuff, but it's not stuff I'd listen to in my own time, as it were. Not that that particularly matters to you, what I'd listen to, but the music is still very good. The game responds really well to farming and grinding, which is something I love to do in JRPGs, so I did a lot of that, and that's probably why my playtime was, roughly 90 hours. I mastered every archetype on the protagonist, I unlocked almost every archetype for every character. I just couldn't be asked to farm anymore when I was right at the end of the game, so I didn't do it. I got, I think, half the cast fully unlocked with every archetype. I think it was just Basilio and Yufa that I didn't get archetypes for. By the way, spoilers, I did just say names of party members, that so if you haven't seen them or don't know, then yeah, mild spoilers. I probably should have said that at the beginning, but if you're watching a review like this, discussion video like this, you should have expected that anyway. But yeah, the game's great. I loved it. It was really, really, really good. It's definitely an Atlus title. It definitely has that SMT punch to it, where it can just fuck you in the ass raw, just out of nowhere. An enemy can just take a turn and completely and utterly annihilate you, and that is incredible, and why I like Atlus titles, if I'm being entirely honest. Their JRPGs are just delectable. I love them to death, and Metaphor, well, as I've said countless times already, love to death. It was a brilliant game. Absolutely brilliant, brilliant game. So let's talk about stuff. Obviously, the combat I shouldn't really need to talk about. It's your SMT press turn system. As for the turn-based combat, that's all there is to say. I do really like how customizable and yet fairly restrictive the archetype system is. You can effectively build any character however the hell you want, but due to the limitations of the best builds with your royal archetypes late game, and some of the skills are locked to them, you kind of want your characters on those. You're free to basically do whatever you want, but you are also restricted in just the right ways that force you to actually be a bit creative, and I actually really, really like the archetype system. It's a unique twist on your like job systems or your class systems from other JRPGs like your Final Fantasies, Braided Default, etc. And I'm really, really fond of it. I'm very happy with the way it felt, the way it was used. Unlocking archetypes is obviously, you just follower levels and then Magla. Early game, you have no need for Magla at all, and I had hundreds of thousands of Magla during the early and mid game, and then late game, I was broke as far as Magla was concerned, because all of a sudden you go from needing like 6,000 to unlock an archetype to needing like 30,000 to unlock an archetype, and yeah, that was one little gripe. I feel like the scaling then could have been tuned a little bit better to even them out, to shift the mid-tier archetypes up a bit, and then the late game archetypes down a touch to have the curve be a bit smoother, but I get it. I get why. You got to put in the work and the effort to, if you want to get these, tier 3, these really strong arms, because the third tier are kind of nuts. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Like, martial artists, I've seen a build where you can do like 90,000 damage with martial artists, the final form of the brawler, but as far as its raw skills go, it's kind of mid as far as it goes. You're using it just for its Synthesis skill, because it scales off percent health and you can do some stupid shit, but its natural skills are actually kind of mid. They kind of suck. Then you got some insane ones. I mean, Royal Warrior's crazy. Samurai's really good as well. The Warrior tree is really good. Faker, obviously your debuff stuff. I don't know why I'm waffling on about this, but it's stuff I like, okay? Summoner can be nuts. Masked Dancer, Persona Master at all. Insane. Like, what the hell? This is just like the best support you could ever ask for. Thief's a bit mid. General and like that whole archetype is good early to mid. Again, you get these party-wide buffs. I basically ran those skills, the two formations, the defense formation and the attack formation, from the moment I got them until the end game when I optimized my team setups. So that's really, really good. Also, you get Masuka Kaja as well with Warlord as well. So you actually then have the full suite of buffs with your general archetype. Really, really good. Berserker I didn't really use because by the time I got Basilio, he was really underleveled because I'd grinded like 10 levels behind the rest of my party because I'd spent so long grinding before he joined the party. So yeah, he was a touch behind. I mean, early game the brawl is insane, but enough about archetypes in the game. Like, you want to hear about the story. It's really good. Luis is an all-time villain. I love Luis as a villain. He's obviously, you know, the modern type of villain where, you know, there's sympathies. You're like, oh, I can see where he's coming from, but also he is just utterly evil. He is utterly evil, misguided. Yeah, you can see where he's coming from, but he is evil, and that I love. He is mad. He's insane. He is flawed. It's fantastic. He's a great villain. He's very ideologically driven. It's just great stuff. He is a all-time villain, in my opinion. I think one of Atlus's best villains. Right? I'm going to put this out there. I think Luis is one of Atlus's best villains, period. Right? SMT isn't really known for its story, so we're not going to count those. Persona series-wise, I think Luis knocks all of them out of the park. Luis might be Atlus's best. Number one, the pinnacle of Atlus's villains. He is so unbelievably good and well written. It's beyond the pale. Luis is just goated. Okay? Luis is the guy. Right? Villain wise. Obviously your party members are all fantastic. I love every single one of them. I was really surprised by how much I like them. I think the only one I'm not super fond of is Yuna. Yuna is my least favorite party member of the bunch, but other than her, I love everybody. Like Basilio, Yufa, Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg really, really grew on me. So did Basilio as well. I mean, actually, I say Basilio grew on me. I like Basilio the moment he was introduced. Like, I really like his whole dynamic with Dell and then the party. It's really good. I really, really like it. His switch from villain to, well, antagonistic presence to ally. It's great. I love it. Yufa as well really surprised me. I wasn't expecting to like Yufa, and then bam, out of the park, boom. Her character growth within her follower is actually really nice, and just like the arc on Virga Island or at the Etruria village stuff, I really, really like that as well. Again, I don't think there's a single part of this game that I don't like, which I think is incredible. Every JRPG has like that one part that, you know, the meme of every JRPG has that one part that you dread playing, and, you know, when you replay it. I can't think of a single point within Metaphor that I didn't enjoy. I enjoyed every single story beat, every single dungeon, every single quest, all of it. There wasn't a single part of that game that I didn't enjoy. All throughout it, I loved every single minute. Even the mindless grinding I enjoyed, which it says a lot about me, I think. But I don't think I've played a JRPG in a while where there hasn't been a single part of the game that I haven't enjoyed. I feel like I worded that wrong. Even with the Trails games, which I'm absolutely loving and playing the hell out of right now, there's parts of each of them I'm like, oh god, bit of a slog. And yet, here's Metaphor, where not a single part of the game felt slow, dragged out, unnecessary. The game is just... It's just really, really well put together. It's really well structured. And it's got a very, very clear message. And it becomes incredibly clear after a certain point. And I quite like that message. I like what it's selling. I like what it sells. I like what it, brings out to you right toward that like last third of the game. I like that. I'm really for that. Hey, I thought that was really cool. And the big twist as well that happens. Oh my god. So I'd kind of seen the end position of the twist coming, right? So you're at A, and you're like, ooh, what's going on here? And then there's, after the twist happens, when you and the prince merge, player character and the prince merge, as it were. I was like, oh, so at some point, you know, the player character and the prince are going to like fuse into one being, and then we're going to become the prince, right? You know, I'd kind of gotten the end right, but the bit in the middle that like is the twist, I was completely off of. I was completely wrong. And it turns out you are the prince. You don't become the prince. You already are, and it is great. And it's actually really well handled as well and explained. I really really like the twist. That twist, killer, so good, absolutely wild, man. That stuff really good. Oh, there's so much good stuff in Metaphor's plot, especially toward that latter part. That just it hits. It's really really good. Like it's genuinely really really good. I've got basically nothing but positive to say about Metaphor. It was an absolutely fantastic game, and I'd recommend that if you if that's, you know, I'd recommend clicking on the video now. Leave a like, comment, sub, notification bell should be around. Because I'm going to talk about something that's kind of unrelated to the game, but there's a tweet I saw roughly around when the game came out that was interesting. It was calling the game the wokest game, one of the wokest games that's come out in a long time, and that tweet shook me because this game is not woke in the sense that most people use the term woke, okay? Like, there's no forced like diversity, which is one thing people attribute to woke. Okay, you know, like, the whole game is about equality and the difference between the tribes, and yeah, it is, but it's not forced. It's natural. It fits into the world. The world is built around that. Okay, it's not like there's a world and then they're also going to push, you know, forced diversity in. No, it's not. It's natural. It fits, and that's why people haven't bitched and whined about it, because it fits. It's fine. It doesn't break immersion. It's not forced down your throat. It's a natural part of the story. It feels right. It isn't like shoved in your face. You look like the right. You get me? And that's just like equality, racial diversity, as it were. There's no forced like other types of diversity that I won't talk about in too much detail because YouTube will murder me. But you know exactly what I'm talking about. For one, as well, the female characters look good. Yeah, I hold that opinion. Yeah, what are you gonna do about it? You probably should have figured this is kind of how I lean. But hey, I just wanted to briefly mention that because this game isn't woke, and but that tweet irked me, and I wanted to say something about that. And it has been living in my head rent-free for God knows how long now. But I wanted to say something about that goddamn tweet. And I don't even know who it was by. I just saw the tweet and was like, what? No, Metaphor is not woke. It isn't even remotely woke by modern standards. And calling it one of the wokest that has come out this year, Christ, no, you're a fool if you think that. You've looked at the game completely wrong. It's a game about an individual's journey. Overcoming adversity, overcoming anxiety, self-growth. The game is actually rather traditional, if I have to say anything. But hey, that's enough politics. Especially given when this video will be going out. Anyway, that's enough of that. I've already said leave a like, comment, sub, share the video, and notification bell, but if you've seen this, you might want to re-remind. Yeah, Metaphor, banger game. Absolute, certified, like, basically 10 out of 10. My only gripe is basically the way I play it with mouse and keyboard probably isn't the best way to play a game. But, peak. It's peak. That's all I gotta say. Metaphor fantazio is peak fiction. Maybe even the best game of the year. But anyway, with that out of the way, I've been Nancy, you've been you, and I hope to come time for another video. Ta-ta. For now.